when I tell you for the culture!
Welcome back to a new video. We're out here today making videos on a Monday, editing on a Monday, and posting on a Monday. So what you're watching right now is relevant to the day. Yesterday, Sunday, my studio, I don't even know if it was Sunday or Saturday night or something, I came out here and my studio got broken into and all my music gear got stolen. So we fixed it up here, double padlocked it. Crackheads, that's who it was, because I don't know nobody that's come out here that wants to take my shit, you know. So we're gonna go in here and we're gonna talk about what they took and what I replaced. Okay, they stole my MPC. They stole my little MPK mini keyboard thing that I used to play. It was the piano. I never did play the piano, but I used to put sounds in there and play the sounds. I had like the Serato DJ thing, so I could chop and screw my music. They took that. I had a keyboard from Apple, like one of the very first keyboards that they ever produced, and it still had the Apple sign instead of the control sign. So instead of Apple control Q, control S, it was Apple Q and Apple S. I had a generic GoPro thing that they took. I think they took my son's bike that was broken. 2 hard drives. I had one hard drive full of old videos that are on YouTube, and another hard drive full of music, full of samples, full of drum loops, full of recorded samples that I got off the records here, because I do this thing where I listen to the records, sample the record, and then put it in the hard drive and come back to it later. And so I used to save all my beats on this hard drive, so it didn't save on my main computer. That's one thing that irks me the most, is like they stole that hard drive, both of those hard drives, because I had old skate footage on one and then the music on the other, you know. But the music one, it has no relevance to somebody. Same with the skateboarding, it has no relevance to somebody to steal that shit. It's like they come in here and I think they thought it was a tool shed, and they came in here and saw it was a full-blown studio. Because you can't see this place from the street. You can't see this place from the back. You know, you can't even. This is secluded, tucked in. So it was some type of transient crackhead that came off the street and was just snooping around when we weren't here. And they stole the microphone that was in the booth, and they ripped it straight off the wall because it was screwed onto the wall. It's dark in here, but it was screwed. I screwed it onto the wall and everything. Oh, they stole my iTrack dock that I used to record into. So you could probably see the box that I have it up there. So the way that I record music, instead of recording it straight onto my computer, like when somebody wants to come out here and do a song, or if I want to do a song, I would hook up the microphone into the iTrack dock, plug in my iPad and record onto the iPad and do all the recording on the iPad, and then when I'm done recording, I would email myself the tracks and record it on, not record it on my computer, but like mix it down and edit on my computer. Stuff like that. And then like I had all my sons, like I have boxes of old pictures of my son when he was a kid, and a bunch of stuff, old pictures from when I was in high school. Basically, this studio / editing room was my room at my mom's house when I lived there. So like everything in here was in the corner of my room. The desk, except for the recording, the box and the microphone, that wasn't at my mom's house. But like the MPC, all the beats, all the vinyl, everything, they're ridiculous, because they didn't even steal no vinyl or nothing. They just stole all the music equipment, thinking they're gonna come up fast. And the funny thing is, they can't, even if they wanted to pawn the MPC. I had so many stickers all over it, it'd be so hard to get those stickers off. That's ridiculous for somebody to come out here and steal my stuff. I had to call the cops twice since I moved out here, and I told the cop that came out here yesterday, I told him, you know, I grew up on the south side of Tacoma. I hung out in the roughest, like back in the 90s and early 2000s, like Hilltop was the roughest area. You know, I hung out with the guy that used to live behind us when I used to live with my mom. The house behind us on the next street over, he murdered his wife and blew his house up and stuff. So I lived in a pretty crazy neighborhood, but we never had to call the cops for anything for somebody trying to steal stuff. It's totally weird. I don't know if it's because people think they can get away with it or whatever, but this is we double padlocked the first door, and then we're gonna padlock the second door. And I had to rebuy the MPC. I had to rebuy the iTrack dock. I have to rebuy the 2 hard drives, but it's like the hard drives is like somebody going into your house and stealing your photo album. Why would you want somebody's photo album of people's stuff? It's stupid. On a good note, I was going through my hard drive that they didn't take, and I have, well, it was on my desktop, on the desktop on my computer, and I'm gonna put it on the hard drive that I have. I have the recent drum samples and loops and noises and stuff that I downloaded off the internet, and all these drum samples and loops and like hi-hats and kick drums and snare drums and 808s and these deep bass noises. I find them free on the internet. Like there's a website called freedrumkit.com, or no, freedrumkit.net, and you can just download a bunch of free kits, different styles of kits. There's another one, I forget what it was called, but it has this really low subby bass that I like using. It's called, like, the bass is called a Pete Snack bass, and it makes everything hit way harder. But other than them stealing the stuff, it doesn't really matter, because I already, well, it matters to a degree, but it's stuff that you can replace. The skate footage I can't replace, but the MPC I can replace, the iTrack dock I can replace, the microphone I can replace. I just didn't get enough sleep last night because the dog, I don't know, was sick or something. I don't know what was going on with the dog, but I just couldn't sleep that well last night. It's weird to me that people have the nerve to come and steal somebody else's stuff. It's called karma. It's gonna catch up to people. I try to treat people nice with respect at all times. I show people what I do, and I try to help them if they do the same thing I do. I always try to show them my way of doing it and show them, you know, a different way of doing things and help them get better at what they do. I don't know if somebody that I know came through, or it was just like a crackhead or something. Even though they try to gain on something, it's still their loss, because the MPC and like all that stuff, recording stuff, it takes time, it takes effort. You know, you gotta want to do that stuff, learn that stuff. Those buttons and knobs are a hard thing to comprehend, because when I first got it, I barely didn't know what everything was. And then I learned, somebody taught me on an older MPC, and I bought the MPC Studio. I think I already talked about this before in another video. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Go find that video on how I started making beats. But it's like, it's not something that you can plug in and play. Plus you need the software to run it. Idiots. Purely idiots. That's all I have today. There's nothing really going on here because shit got stolen, and I'm waiting for the shit to come that I bought to replace it, because, you know, I have beats and I've been working on this project, and I have like 5 or 6 beats stacked up. I was gonna go in there and start making a mixtape and writing rhymes to them, but now I have to go buy a new microphone and the whole setup. But in the long run, I'm coming out as this being a positive, not a negative. Well, it is a negative. Yesterday I was fucking pissed. They try to gain on something, it's still their loss, because the MPC and like all that stuff, recording stuff, it takes time, it takes effort. You know, you gotta want to do that stuff, learn that stuff. Those buttons and knobs are a hard thing to comprehend. Because when I first got it, I barely didn't know what everything was. And then I learned, somebody taught me on an older MPC, and I bought the MPC Studio. I think I already talked about this before in another video. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Go find that video on how I started making beats. But it's like, it's not something that you can plug in and play. Plus you need the software to run it. Idiots, purely idiots. That's all I have today. There's nothing really going on here because shit got stolen, and I'm waiting for the shit to come that I bought to replace it, because, you know, I have beats and I've been working on this project, and I have like 5 or 6 beats stacked up. I was gonna go in there and start making a mixtape and writing rhymes to them, but now I have to go buy a new microphone and the whole setup. But in the long run, I'm coming out as this being a positive, not a negative. Well, it is a negative. Yesterday I was fucking pissed, but now I look at it, it's stupid. Why would you break into somebody's, I don't know, it's like breaking into people's cars and shit. Back in the day, I don't know. Stealing other people's stuff is dumb. If you can't afford it, save up. All that stuff that I had out there, I just didn't have the money to buy it. I saved up money and bought the MPC, and I bought the little iTrack dock recording and the microphone. It was a bundle kit together. So just want to say thank you for watching, and if you had anybody like steal something from you, it fucking feels weird. Maybe that's why I couldn't sleep last night. It just felt fucking weird, like somebody came in and broke the lock off of the door and stole the stuff. But until, again, tomorrow, the next day, today's Monday, new video coming out Wednesday. I just want to say thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing. Oh, and another thing, it's like, oh, there goes the pump. And another thing, it's like the hard drive stuff that was saved on those 2 hard drives. I was periodically, if you're subscribed, you should go follow me on Instagram. I was doing this thing where I was putting old parts of old videos on Instagram for the Instagram TV or whatever. I've been doing both lately. So you can follow me on Instagram, you can subscribe to the channel, you can go look at the Facebook page, buy some gear if you want to. So thanks.
Why are you like this?